Hello learners, I Anika Gupta will be taking you through a geography through mapping module for Civil Zera. Now we all know that mapping is considered very important, but it's also important to understand how do we do it. So the intended benefit of this course is to provide you comprehensive knowledge and understanding, because there are 3 to 5 questions in prelims which can be solved comfortably with your knowledge of mapping of Atlas. Then it is also going to provide you value added content for mains, and we are going to look at this with the help of an example after few slides. Then also the applied part of mapping, we are unable to understand how does it apply. But applied part of mapping for mains answer writing along with practice towards as we go about this module. Now, what do you need? Or what is the target audience? So if you are preparing for UPSC, civil service, state public service exams, SSC, banking, railways, or overall any competitive exam, this module is specifically meant for you. Or you have a keen interest in geography or keen interest and you want to learn about, be more aware about your surroundings, about geography in general. Now, how do you use this class? So, now that we know that there are going to be 5 to 6 questions from mapping either directly or indirectly. So, it is very important that we should know, once we know this, we will be able to revise our atlas for at least 15 minutes every day before going to sleep, at least initially. Why? Because we want to create a visual memory in our mind. Now, on the basis of this visual memory, why? Because so we will mark on the atlas in itself and not take notes. Notes are not needed. We are going to mark on our atlas itself, which further aids us in creating our visual memory. And we will use tick notes and a highlighter on our atlas itself. There will be certain mnemonics which you are used to. So you will have your mnemonics of your own. You will get mnemonics from me, but make sure that you revise them several times so that they are in your mind permanently, at least till the exam. Now, what do you need? So for this course, please make sure that whenever you start the video, you have an atlas in front of you and you have a paper and a pen. It is very important. Paper and pen, not to make notes but to revise. You would be wondering, when I asked you to not make notes, why do you need a paper? This is what we need the paper for, because it will help us in revising by writing. What all will be covered? We'll be looking at world in India mapping divided into physical and political. So when we look at a map, physical map, what all do we look at? We look at what is the physiography. Physical mapping effectively means the physiography. And in physiography, we look at the mountains, passes, and glaciers. We look at the river systems and lakes. What are the mineral resources a particular region has? Mineral resources could be, where do I find iron ore in India? Why does India have ties with Mozambique? What do we get from there? What are the adjacent oceans and seas? Straits and Gulf. In fact, in 2022 mains, there was also a question on straits. So our mapping would have helped us, provide us applied part and value addition material. Then in environment, we also do a lot of mapping in the form of national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, Ramsar sites, and a lot of these sites are also named after lakes, rivers, or some physiography which we could do here itself in our overall other physical mapping, which would make it easier for us to remember. In the political map, we are going to do the brief overview of the location of countries through which the 3 important latitudes, the Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, and the Equator passes, as well as the prime meridian. Important places in use, places of historical importance, and mineral regions. Mineral regions is exactly what we also said over here, which is the mineral resources. Now, after this, we'll also be covering miscellaneous points such as important straits and gulfs, ocean currents, Human geography, important tribes, agriculture, vegetation, population, Ramsar sites. All this is lists, World Heritage Sites, biosphere reserves. So you will be able to get a better understanding of all of these. Now let's take a look at few questions which have been asked in the exam and are from mapping. You might want to pause the video for a few seconds, come up with an answer, and I'll be right back. Which of the following ocean currents does not belong to the Indian Ocean? Agulhas Current, Mozambique Current, South Indian Ocean Current, and Benguela Current. Now, if you already know that Africa is associated with Agulhas and Benguela, so the answer is definitely one of these. Mozambique is already on the Indian Ocean side, and the term South Indian Ocean Current already has Indian Ocean. So B and C cannot be the answer. Agulhas, now if we look at this map of Africa, you already know that Agulhas Current is on the east and Benguela is on the west. And Agulhas Current this is also the Indian Ocean. So Agulhas is associated with Indian Ocean and the right answer is Benguela Current. This was asked in UPPCS 2014. Next is a question from UPSC Prelims 2016. Which of the following is or are tributaries of Brahmaputra? Dibang, Kameng and Lohit. Select the correct answer using the code given below. 1 only, 2 and 3 only, 1 and 3 only, 1, 2 and 3. Please pause the video, think of an answer and come back. Now, when you look at this question, you already know that Dihang and Dibang in Assam, it is also a Ramsar site. So, Dibang is a tributary of Brahmaputra, Kameng and Lohit. All three are tributaries of Brahmaputra, easily done by doing river system in the physical mapping. Now, next question, UPSC Prelims 2017. Mediterranean Sea is a border for which of the following countries? Jordan, Iraq, Lebanon, Syria. Select the correct answer using the code given below, and then we have 4 options. Again, pause the video, think of an answer, actively use your pen and paper. You might want to draw a rough map of the Mediterranean and come back. Now, when I look at the question, the Mediterranean Sea, you will also know that Mediterranean is a very important or very favorite part of UPSC. I have provided you a rough map, or actually a map of the Mediterranean. And now when you look at this map, you will see that Jordan shares a boundary. Lebanon also shares a boundary. It is Iraq which does not share a boundary with the Mediterranean, because Iraq has boundaries with Syria and Jordan. Now, if you look at the question, you will see that, oh, okay, so my options has Iraq. And as soon as I neglect all options which has 2, I am left with 3 and 4, 1, 3 and 4. So Lebanon, Syria has boundaries with Mediterranean, and the weight of the answer lies on Jordan. If you look at Jordan, so does Jordan have boundaries with Mediterranean? Yes, very less boundary, but it does. Or maybe it does not. But how will you be able to answer this question? With your understanding of the map, with your revising the atlas, so that these last minute confusions, whether Jordan had a boundary, did not have a boundary, or did it have a boundary with Israel and this is Israel. So what exactly is it? You will be able to answer this only and only with your repeated revisions of your atlas. Now coming to the next question, Strait of Malacca separates which of the following countries? Singapore and Indonesia, Malaysia and Brunei, Malaysia and Singapore, and Myanmar and Thailand. Please take a second and pause the video. Welcome back. Now the question is Strait of Malacca. You already know that Strait of Malacca is a very, very important strait Why? Because it also connects the Indian Ocean with the Pacific Ocean. Now, Strait of Malacca, many important rivers or many important sea lanes of communication (SLOC) pass through the Strait of Malacca. So we should know, when we know this, we know that the Strait of Malacca connects the Malay Peninsula and the Indonesian. So it is a narrow stretch of land between, actually it connects two water bodies, which are the water bodies Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, and it is between the Malay Peninsula or Malaysia and Indonesia. However, this is not an option. Why? Because at the tip of the Malay Peninsula is Singapore. So Strait of Malacca is separating Singapore and Indonesia. Please open your atlas. This would be a good time for you to open your atlas and look at this. Look at the answer to this question. This was a question again from UPSC prelims. We have a question from 2018 prelims. Consider the following countries: Australia, Canada, China, India, Japan and USA. Which of the above are among the free trade partners of ASEAN? Now the question, it seems, does not have a lot to do with mapping, but this was also in news because of ASEAN, because the increasing significance of ASEAN. And you would know that ASEAN has 5 free trade agreements. These are China, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, Korea, but not India and not USA. Anyways, when we have China, USA is a little less expected, but either ways the answer is 1, 2, 3 and 5. It is not an option. So now what do? Is India an answer? India is not an answer. How will we know this? We will know this only and only when we have practiced our mapping. And the right answer is C. 1, 3, 4 and 5. Okay. How do we do this? Now, as I have written, there are 5 FTAs: China, Japan, Korea, India and Australia, New Zealand. I had missed India. Why? To highlight the confusion we face in the exam, and these are the 10 ASEAN countries whose names you should know at the back of your hand. It should be very clear and quick to recall. Now there is a question from mains exam. Major hot deserts in northern hemisphere are located between 20 to 30 degrees north and on the western side of the continents. Why? GS1 question 2013. So when we answer this question, there is going to be one candidate who's just going to write the names. He's going to write the names of these deserts. There will be a second person who will draw a map and locate these places. Who gets an extra mark? Definitely the person who draws a map. I have given you a map locating deserts of the world. However, what gets you marks is not highlighting all the deserts, but highlighting the deserts which are relevant to the exam. For example, Thar Desert. Thar is a desert not because it's on the western side of the continent in the northern hemisphere, but because it is in the rain shadow region. So it's very important that we highlight the correct deserts. Again, our understanding with the help of mapping is going to increase by a very big margin. So Gobi Desert or all the temperate deserts do not come in our map or will not be highlighted. And this is how mapping is going to provide you value addition content for your answers. Thank you.